This is the Strat-O-Matic Baseball Excel 1970-73 Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Trawler YouTube channel.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the Summer 70-73 Carryover League. We got a series tonight in the American League North between the Tigers and the Indians. This is a first round postseason tournament series where second place teams play first place teams to see, who is going to be in first place at the end of the round. You got to distinguish that. And then we have a second and third round of the tournament, of course. And it's interesting that we have seen matchups before the All-Star break that are the same as after the All-Star break. Why that's a little curious is that the schedule said that the first and fourth place teams a year ago would meet before the All-Star break. Yet we have seen this year fourth place teams have done good. We've seen Colorado play Vegas. We've seen the White Sox and Twins, Seattle and Oakland, and tonight Cleveland and Detroit. And Cleveland was the last place team last year. They had the worst record in baseball last year, had the first pick in the draft. First, let's see what the Indians were going to need in this series, folks. When we go to the tourney schedule, so right here in the American League North, the series is Detroit has home field for the 7 games because Cleveland had it in the regular season. Detroit, in that series, by the way, home team won the first 5 games, but Detroit won Game 6 in Cleveland to win that series 4-2, so they have a +2 in the tiebreaker. They are also 3 games ahead of the Indians at the start of the series. That means that Cleveland would need to win 5 of these 7 games, put the teams in a tie, and that one extra win over Detroit would give Cleveland a tiebreaker. They'd be, this +3 would negate the +2, and then Cleveland would be in first place, so the teams would have identical records. And again, this could all flip after the second and third round of the tournament. We got a long way to go before the playoffs. So what has happened in this series, folks? Well, let's get started in Game 1 in Detroit. Gaylord Perry versus Mickey Lolich. None of the bullpens were turned on. They said, "Now we're not going to have bullpens if we need them." It's Gaylord Perry and Mickey Lolich, so that was negated right out of the blocks. The first curious thing the Indians did was to mix their lineup up. They said, "Why not? What do we got to lose? We're down 3 to the Tigers. Let's try something new." They traded for Frank Robinson in the offseason from Baltimore. One of the big moves of players in the American League. Frank Robinson going to the Cleveland Indians. In the National League, Willie Mays was traded for. The Mets got Willie Mays. Both players ended up in good situations. Both teams gave up a lot to get them. In any event, Frank Robinson's leading off in Game 1. And in this game, both pitchers give up a couple runs early. Larry Brown, 2-run single. Indians got a 2-0 lead. Dick McAuliffe for the Tigers, 2-run homer. Top of the 5th, the Indians, RBI single for Chambliss. Gaylord Perry is steady. Mickey Lolich is not. He puts men on every inning. Then in the 8th inning, it's single. It is a 5-2 game, and they say, "That's enough, Mickey. He had put 15 men on base through 7 innings and 4 batters, so they sent him to the showers, had to turn the bullpen on, and the bullpen was not ready. Bill Slayback had a nice 8th inning, but in the 9th inning, a 3-run homer by Ray Fosse. It is an 8-2 Indian win in Detroit. First win in Detroit all year for Cleveland, and they were once 3 games back. They are now 2 games back. Game number 2 in Tiger Stadium. It is Dick Tidrow versus Joe Coleman. Another hot start for the Indians. RBI double for Danny Walton and a single by Chris Chambliss. A single by Norm Cash. It's 2-1. Insurance in the 8th for the Indians. And the Tigers can't get to Dick Tidrow. Matter of fact, in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, the Tigers do not get on base. And the Cleveland Indians get a nice save out of Steve Mangori, an All-Star. Frank Robinson and Mangori were the 2 Cleveland All-Stars. Jim Northrup was the Tiger All-Star. He went over 4. Cleveland, another road win in Tiger Stadium. And now this thing is doable. Can they win 5 of 7? Well, now they can. They just won 2 road games in Tiger Stadium. They are 1 game out of first. So what happens when we go to Cleveland for Game 3? It's Les Kane for the Tigers, Mike Kilkenny, off-season acquisition for the Indians. Close game. We have a Bill Freehan homer. Tigers get a 1-0 lead. Then an RBI single by Horton. It's 2-0 Tigers. We're thinking maybe the road teams are hot. Bottom of the 7th inning against Les Kane. It is a Vader Pinson leadoff triple. Ground ball back to Kane. He kicks it. A run scores. It's 2-1, a double play. But then it's a Danny Walton single with 2 outs. No earned runs, but 2 do score. It's 2-2. Howie Reed and Vicente Romo are asked as longmen to keep it close. Vicente Romo, 2 2/3 of 1-hit innings. Howie Reed gets the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 batters out with 2 strikeouts. But then, Buddy Bell. Yes, Buddy Bell, I think it's his rookie card of 72 for the Tribe. He hits 255 with 9 homers. And it's Buddy Bell walks off Game 3 for the Indians. 3-2, and suddenly the Tigers are looking very old. As we start to see this is a very over 30s club they have going here. And the young Indians, with guys like Chambliss and Buddy Bell, the new regime in Cleveland, and John Lowenstein, and the suave old Frank Robinson leading the young troops, the Indians are now tied for first by winning the first 3 games. All they have to do is split the remaining 4, and they'll win the tiebreaker. So, what does happen in Game 4? Do the Tigers get up off the mat? It is Tom Timmerman and Steve Hargan. They met before the All-Star break. Timmerman beat Hargan. But today, it's a different story. That same lineup for the Indians with Frank Robinson leading off. A Pinson single, Sims walk, and Danny Walton a 3-run homer. Then in the 3rd, Chris Chambliss a 2-run homer. Then in the 5th, Chris Chambliss a 3-run homer. It is 8-0 Cleveland. The bullpen starts to mess up a little bit, plus the defense kind of screws up. Not a big deal. The Tribe, the Cleveland Indians, all they need is a 5-2, but a 5-0 or a 5-1 does the exact same thing and is a lot better. The Cleveland Indians have made a move in the American League East. They are up by a game. They need to win 1 more of the next 3 games, and they will be in first place. A worst-to-first story. The biggest move in the American League, in a very weak American League, I might add. Let's look at the overall standings before we start a Game 5 in Cleveland. Here we are. American League. So the A's wiped out the Mariners. No shocker there. Kind of disappointing that there's nobody better than the Mariners for the A's to play, but there really isn't. So the A's are now snickering at everybody because they have the best record in the American League. No shocker there. It just took them a while to get started. You know, the Twins and White Sox are game over 500. And in the East, the Red Sox and Orioles 2 and 3 over 500. And here's the change. Right here, the Tigers were the best team, the #1 seed before this series started. No more. They are just 3 games over 500. The Indians are now 5 over 500. If the Indians, this would be a huge move. If they could play a 5th and final game and move +5 and go 6 over 500, they realistically could get a bye. The A's and Indians could be the teams with byes, as the Orioles and Red Sox are beating each other up, and the Twins and White Sox are beating each other up. The Tigers have not played this poorly since the World Series last year, when they lost 4 out of 5 to the Mets. Well, actually, the Tigers would love to get would love to win 1 out of 5 games, because they haven't won one yet. And Game 5 here in Cleveland, it is a rematch of Game 1. Mickey Lolich for the Tigers. Gaylord Perry at home for the Indians. His 24-win card of 1972, when it didn't matter for Cleveland because they were lousy. But it matters now, having a 24-game winner at home in a clinching game. My, oh my. I never thought the Tigers and Indians would have such a, rivalry that's, yeah. Tigers won 4 of the first 6 before the All-Star break, but now the Indians have won 6 out of 10 total. Leading off for Detroit, it'll be Dick McAuliffe. 59, rolls a second. Jim Northrup, the All-Star, 1-7, grounds to first. Al Kaline, 47, single 1 to 12, he gets it. And with 2 outs, it's Gates Brown. 1-4, let's take a look at the gates of hell. Gates Brown gives that, that's what it's like. It's Rodin and a nightmare for American League pitchers. The .338 batting average of Brown in 1971. 11 homers and 195 at-bats. 2-run homer, and the Tigers take a breath and have a 2-0 lead. Norm Cash, 3 6s a K. All right, Cleveland. They have not done a thing with their lineup since the start of this postseason. It's Frank Robinson leading off. The irony is that Baltimore traded Frank Robinson to Cleveland to get Al Bumbry in their lineup, who's a leadoff hitter. And Frank Robinson is doing the leadoff hitting for a resurgent Cleveland team. The pitch to Frank. 68, sky's the limit. Ray Fosse, 58K. And Vader Pinson, 2-8, grounds are short. They are arguably the 3 best players on Cleveland. Frank Robinson, Ray Fosse, and Vader Pinson. Of course, Robinson and Pinson, they have a history together in Cincinnati. So, yeah, that's what the Indians decided to do. Just front load the team and see what happens. And they rolled the dice, and boy, things have been happening. Willie Horton in the second. 68, lines are short. John Stevenson, 67's a K. Clete Boyer, 1-8, sky's the center. It's up to Mickey Lolich to stiffen up and make sure the Indians don't get anything going today. Tony Horton grounds a third. Big game, Mickey Lolich, I might add. Buddy Bell, 46, 1-6, line out. Mickey Lolich has an incredible history of postseason success in my Strat-O-Matic. He was on the mound 4 years ago for the Tigers in a Game 7 World Series victory over the Dodgers and Bill Singer. He was on the mound beating the Orioles last year, knocking the Orioles out from trying to repeat as World Series champions. And of course, he fought valiantly against the Mets in the World Series. I think he might have beaten Tom Seaver for the lone Tiger win. So yeah, Mickey Lolich is a big gamer, we know that. And he was an all-star. Chris Chambliss, 1-8 Ks. Bottom of the third, it's Ed Brinkman, 55, short X. Shortstop is Eddie Leone, a 3 shortstop. Makes the play. Dick McAuliffe, 47, single 1 to 8, line out. And Northrup, 2-6, double 1 to 5, double. Al Kaline, 59, rolls a second. Bottom of the third, Danny Walton, 2-6, single 1 to 12, base hit. Eddie Leone, 39 is a walk, 2 on for the Tribe. Larry Brown, 37 is a 5, 4-3, double play. Runner at third, 2 outs for Frank Robinson. 38 is ball 4. 2 on, 2 outs. Big moment here for Ray Fosse. Let's take a look at his card before he swings. What a brilliant year he had in 1970 with 18 homers and a 307 batting average. The pitch to Ray Fosse. 67 off Lolich is a K. Big game Lolich continues. Top of the 4th. It's Gates Brown, the difference of the game to this point. 111 lines a third. Norm Cash skies to right field. This is Frank Robinson at 2E5 makes the catch. And Willie Horton, here's a who. 64 catcher's card. That's Fosse, a 1 catcher, makes the play. Bottom of the 4th, Vader Pinson. 54 off of Lolich, homer, 1-4, double. It is a 3 and it goes out of the park. Vader Pinson. He with 24 homers in 1970 and a 286 batting average and plenty of power versus lefties and righties. He actually hits lefties. Let's take a look at the card then, even though the homer was off of Lolich's card. Just to show you that, you know, Vader Pinson actually hits lefties better than righties. And we got a 2-1 game. Tony Horton, here's a who. 47's a K. Buddy Bell. 45, skies a center. Chris Chambliss, 1-6, triple 108 is a base hit. Danny Walton, 59, short X. Brinkman's a 2E24. A single off the 2 shortstop, tough break for the Tigers. And with 2 on and 2 outs, it's Eddie Leone. 1-7 is a pop to first. We go to the 5th. John Stevenson, 66, lines a third. Cleet Boyer, 1-6, grounds short. And Ed Brinkman, 210, flies to left field. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th, but first let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Okay. Tribe down a run. Larry Brown will lead it off. 1-7 is a walk. Frank Robinson, we didn't show the card. Let's show it now. Here it is, of course. An E-Stealer leading off, but again, a ton of walks. 69 walks, 471 at-bats. He must have been injured for a little bit of 1970, as his injury is also on the rule of 11. Indians don't care about that stuff. They just want his MVP, allure to shepherd the young tribe. He would be their manager in 1975, but here he gets to play for him. He'd be a player manager for them. Past his prime, of course. Here, he is definitely still in it. Frank Robinson, 58 off of Lolich is a K. Ray Fosse, 38 is single ... Runners on the corners, 1 out. Tigers got to bring it up in a tight 2-1 game for Vader Pinson, who homered last inning. 45 is a sac fly to left, and we have a tie game. Runner on first, 2 outs for Tony Horton. Here's a who. 2-7 is a liner to second. Okay, Perry and Lolich. They were tied 2-2 in game 1. And Lolich ran out of gas in the 8th inning, and Perry did not. He finished the game. But here we are in the 6th. It'll be Dick McAuliffe. 38, grounds to first. Jim Northrup, 5'11", bouncer to second. This is Larry Brown, a 3E17 second baseman, makes the play. And Al Kaline. 112 flies to left field. Gaylord Perry on his game. 1 mistake early. Only 3 batters have reached. Bottom of the 6th. The Indians have sent more batters to the plate. Buddy Bell leads it off. 66 off of Lolich is a single, who's starting to struggle in the last couple innings. It's the lefty Chris Chambliss. 57's a K. Danny Walton. 58 is a K. And with 2 outs, it's Eddie Leone. 4-4 center X. This is not Mickey Stanley, who's on the bench today. This is Northrup, who's a 3, because he's getting older in center field. That's going to be a double. Northrup is actually a 2 in the corner at positions, but he's a 3 in center, where he once was a 2. May have been a 1 in the 60s. I'm not sure about that. But that's a double dot dot. Second and third, 2 outs. Larry Brown is the batter. 2-10. Let's take a look at Larry Brown. He was an Indian in 1970, was their utility infielder, who hit .258 in 175 plate appearances. But this might be the biggest hit of his career for the Tribe. It is a base hit in the right field. That will give the Indians the lead. Leone, a 13-14-15. Do you challenge the -3 arm of K-line? A home team can do it. The road team can't. They're going to do it because the Tribe has been rolling the dice since the beginning of this series. They've been aggressive. They're going to run off the cannon arm of Al K-line here with 2 outs. And the play at the plate is a 16, and Mr. Al K-line guns down and saves a run for the Tigers. Oh, that's par for the course there. The Tribe takes a 3-2 lead. They can't make it a 4-2 game. With Frank Robinson in the on-deck circle. Oh, boy. All right, Gaylord Perry into the 7th. There really isn't... Oh, there's a minimal... There's a little bit of defense to bring in, but they're going to wait. Top of the 7th, it is Gates Brown. 48 is a K. Norm Cash. 34 skies to center. And with 2 outs, it's Willie Horton. 2-4 rolls to short. The story is Gaylord Perry. I've not had much luck with Gaylord Perry in the last few years. With the San Francisco Giants in a 69 card, he struggled. It was Marichal winning Cy Youngs, and Gaylord Perry was in the doghouse. Then we traded him to the Indians for Sam McDowell. He struggled last year. But this year, Gaylord Perry is delivering when it matters most for the young Tribe. And this is a big story, folks, in the carryover league, if the Indians can finish this thing off. It is 3-2, bottom of the 7th. Stretch time, we have been listening to the James Gang's Greatest Hits compilation from 1973. All the great ones by Joe Walsh and Company. Walk Away, Funks, 48 and 9. And yeah, this is the one you want to get, folks. My goodness. An hour and 10 minutes of the James Gang. And let's get back to the game. Bottom of the 7th. Mickey Lolich. He's clearly struggled in the last 3 innings, but he's Mickey Lolich. He's not going anywhere. Frank Robinson to lead off. 1-8, grounds are short. Ray Fosse. 49, bounces to second base. This is McAuliffe at 2-13. Makes the play. Vader Pinson. 53, right X. K-Line's at 2-4. In right field, makes the play. Well, they're going to take Danny Walton out of left field and put John Lowenstein there. So, prove the defense. Gaylord Perry, can he collect 6 more outs? Steve Mangori is an all-star closer if he gets into trouble. But it's Gaylord Perry is a starter 9. I'm going to remind viewers, Gaylord Perry started on opening day, had the lead in the 8th inning, and I pulled him from Mangori. And Mangori blew a save, and I really regretted that. Heck, Gaylord Perry would have gone to the All-Star game probably if he would have won that game. I also regretted it because Gaylord Perry's a starter 9. And starter 9's not only can they go 9, I'll let him go 10. So, yeah, we're just going to let Gaylord Perry do his best here. In the 8th, John Stevenson leads off. 3-10, grounds a second. Cleet Boyer. 2-8 is a pop to short. And with 2 outs, it's Ed Brinkman. 2-3 pops to first. We are in the biggest moment of our baseball season to this point. This is a huge move if this Cleveland team can finish this. All right, Lolich isn't going anywhere. He's Lolich, so he's going to stick around. Tony Horton, 45, skies the center. Buddy Bell, 46, single 1-6, lines out. and it's Chris Chambliss. 112, grounds to first base plus injury. Well, will that injury be costly? Chris Chambliss is a nice defensive first baseman, a 3E12. Tony Horton will have to play first base, and he's not good. He's a 4E9. But I can get some more defense in the game. So Fred Stanley will come in for Chambliss and play short, and the shortstop will go to DH, and Horton will go from DH to first base. As we go to the 9th inning, the 2-run homer by Gates Brown, a double by Northrup, and nothing else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16 in a row by Gaylord Perry, but he's got the top of the order in the 9th. Can't take him out. Dick McAuliffe, Jim Northrup, Al Kaline, Gates Brown, and Norm Cash. A murderer's row. But here we go. The pitch to Dick McAuliffe. 4-4 off of Gaylord Perry. Homer 1-11 double. It is gone on a 7. Dick McAuliffe in the 9th ties it. Oh my, Cleveland. Oh, Cleveland. The fans are deflated. It's now 3-3. Perry will continue. Has to hang in there now. Jim Northrup. Let's take a look at the Jim Northrup card. He was their all-star. This is a 73 card with 307 average and 12 homer. Pitch to Jim Northrup. 3-6. Jim Northrup homer, 1-15, and it's gone! The Tigers! We're losing it, folks. Back-to-back homers in the 9th, and it's 4-3. Oh, the factory of sadness in Cleveland. I cannot believe it. It's 4-3 Tigers. It's still just a 1-run game. I don't need to rush into Mingori yet. We'll let Gaylord pitch to Al Kaline, and then we'll bring in Mingori for the lefties. So here's Al Kaline. 39, well, that's a walk regardless of a lefty-righty, and that'll do it. Oh, Gaylord Perry, Gaylord Perry. Oh, my goodness. I tried to make you a hero. Well, no big deal, folks. For the Indians, all they have to do is win one of these 3 games. Surely they can win one of these, right? Steve Mingori will come on in the 9th in a 4-3 game with a runner at first and nobody out. Batting for Gates Brown will be Mickey Stanley. And he'll play center field. And Northrup will go from center to left. Horton will go to DH. Mickey Stanley. 47 is a K. Norm Cash. 45. Triple 1 to 13. Gets it. Infield comes up for Willie Horton. 3-6 is a walk. The Tigers, the experienced Tigers, you know, playing a postseason experience here. Batting for Stevenson will be Bill Freehand. Oh boy. Up and hold with 1 out. Bill Freehand, the pitch. 2-12 is a low max. Line out to third max, which means the runner at third got doubled off on the line drive. A huge break for Cleveland as their inning was about to fall apart. But with runners in the corners and 1 out, actually I forgot to give. Yeah, that was an RBI triple there by Norm Cash. That would have been a huge mistake if I ignored that. So yeah, it was an RBI triple to make it 5-3. Glad I scored that. And then with runners in the corners and 1 out after the Mickey Stanley strikeout, we had the Lomax. The guy at third got plucked off the bases. It is 5-3. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Now, we let Gaylord play it out. Do we do the same with Lolich? He's put a dozen or so on. I'm going to hook him. But let's see how many he's put on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm hooking him. I'm just going to hook him. I just got a bad feeling about this. One team rode the starter. Look what happened. The other team, the Tigers, and they knew that Lolich got... The Indians hit Lolich pretty well in Game 1 as well, to the tune of about 30 runners on base and 2 starts. So John Hiller will come on in the 9th with a 2-run lead. The Tigers have all their defense in there. Not only that, but John Lowenstein is the leadoff hitter and doesn't hit lefties well. Let's take a look at Lowenstein. He was brought in for defense, and now he has to face the lefty John Hiller. Down 2 in the bottom of the 9th. The pitch to John Lowenstein. 65, short X. This is Ed Brinkman, a 2E24, and he's out. Well, well, well. Eddie Leone and Larry Brown with the lefty Duke Sims on the bench. Yeah, and that's it. Oh boy. Eddie Leone will bat. 57 off of Hiller is a K. And with 2 outs, it is Larry Brown. 1, 2! You saw the Larry Brown card earlier. That is a double to center field. And the Indians have life. They will send the tying run to the plate of the 9th. And it's the dude. It is Frank Robinson. They're on their feet. This is the guy they got from Baltimore in the offseason who has lit the fire under this team. And he has a chance to tie up a Game 5 here in Cleveland and give the Indians a chance at winning this series at home instead of relying on having to win a game in Tiger Stadium. So, John Hiller, Frank Robinson in a thriller with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Here is the pitch. 65 off Hiller is short X again. And it's already set up for Ed Brinkman, the 2E24 short. It is a GBA, and that is the game. I am sorry, Cleveland. I am sorry. I tried. I really did. It seemed like it was going to be your moment after some dismal performances for your franchise, but there's still hope in this series. The Detroit Tigers, a gritty veteran team, refuses to roll over and pulls out an 0-4 deficit and a 1-run deficit in the 9th inning of a Game 5 and get a win in the series. Mangori gives up a hit, a walk, and a K. A bad 9th inning for Gaylord Perry. 5 hits total, but 5 runs total. The 2-run homer and all those guys who put on the 9th scored. Tough break, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. John Hiller did not blink at all. He just came in the game after Lolich, a hit and a strikeout. Lolich collects a win. And that was 8 hits and 3 runs. It's a good start, not a great start. And he put, in the middle innings here, the Indians could not finish him off. He had put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 men on in these 3 innings. Only 3 of them scored. 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. 1019, 0109, 5639, 392438. Well, what does this mean? It means these 2 teams are tied for first with 2 games left. If they split the 2 games, the Indians have the advantage. So the Tigers have to win both. But the American League is looking pretty kooky right now. There's a whole bunch of teams that are hovering around 500, and this could turn into a real mess. So Cleveland, Detroit, they are both 4 games over 500 presently. Let's start with the Indians. They're 20-16. They're hitting .269 with a .398 ERA. Gaylord Perry, my goodness, he's 7-4. I know 2 of those losses, opening day and this one. He's 7-4, but his ERA is .287. Mangori has 8 saves, so he deserves to be the All-Star. How's Frank Robinson doing? He went to the All-Star game. He's 45 for 147. 306. And Frank Robinson's card hits 306. It's exactly what his Strat-O-Matic card says. Always love when that happens. Ray Fosse is also doing well, 41 hits. And that's your Cleveland. Now the Tigers are also 4 over. They're 18-14. They're hitting .261 with a .361 team ERA. Lolich is 6-2. No slouch himself. and his ERA is 2.64. Coleman has a losing record, as does Tom Timmerman, Les Kane. Hiller has 6 saves, but his ERA is over 4.5. That's not good. Leading hitter for the Tigers, Northrop, the All-Star, 40 hits. Hitting 320. RBIs, pretty close. This is a type of team that's pretty close knit and no offensive players running away with an advantage there. The RBIs are distributed between, Norm Cash, Willie Horton, and Northrop. And yeah. So, that's game 494 of the year. We are hitting 262 as a league with a 3.84 ERA. I will give the results of a Game 6 in Tiger Stadium and a Game 7 if necessary to let you know who is going to be in first after the first round of the tournament. Thanks for checking this out. We will see you next time. Well, baseball fans, let's take a look at Game 6 in Detroit. It is Dick Tidrow. He won a game earlier. He won a Game 2 beating Joe Coleman. The same pitchers face off. Quickly, the Tribe, top of the first, a walk, a double, a triple by Duke Sims, a walk and a double. And it is 3-0, though the Indians leave a couple guys on base. The Indians will leave 2 more on the third, another on the fourth, before the Tigers get a solo homer by Gates Brown, and it's 3-1. Then in the bottom of the 6th inning, 4 straight singles for the Tigers. This game is tied at 3. In the bottom of the 8th inning, Tidrow is pulled. Hilgendorf is brought in. He's not pitching well at all. A walk and a double, second and third with 1 out. Then they go to Vicente Romo. He strikes out Bill Freehan. He strikes out Clete Boyer. The Tigers don't score. Then in the 9th inning, Joel Coleman left in there too long, like he was earlier in the series, like Lolich was left in there too long. A single, a K, and a walk. Bases loaded, 2 outs, but he breaks. So they go to John Hiller to see if they can get the final out in the 9th of a 3-3 game facing the lefty Lowenstein. They don't pinch hit for Lowenstein. They let him bat. He draws a walk. And then Buddy Bell with a 2-run single. It is a 3-run 9th inning. Cleveland turns the table as the Tigers had a 3-run 9th inning in the game you saw. Steve Mingori does come in this time, and it's 3 up and 3 down. And the Indians do it anyway. They do it in Game 6 by a score of 6-3. So that is the silver lining for you Indian fans out there watching. They beat the Tigers 5 out of 6 times, and that is a big freaking deal. We'll show you why. So back to this. Cleveland needed to go 5-2. They go 5-1. Game 7 is not being played. And the reason that's not being played, it doesn't do anything between first and second place. And frankly, it hurts the Tigers if they were to lose that one as well. So that's why we don't play. I generally don't play meaningless games. That's why everything is a best of, so forth and so on. But look at Cleveland now, 5 over 500. A game up on the 3 over 500 Tigers. And when you look at the overall standings now, the Indians are sitting at the 2 seed with Oakland at a 1 in a very weak American League, with Boston and Baltimore still to play. And oh, the shrewd Orioles sending their teammate Frank Robinson to Cleveland to beat up on the Tigers has suddenly paid off. It's worked. And that's because the Tigers have beaten the Orioles, have knocked the Orioles out of the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years. And so, yeah, the Orioles are hoping that the Indians win this division and the Tigers don't go to the playoffs. So, pretty interesting to see one player in each league. Frank Robinson get traded here, and Willie Mays, oh boy, got traded there. And those trades are a big freaking deal. Just one player trade has made a great story for the carryover league this year. That's it. Congratulations, Cleveland Indians, taking 5 out of 6 from a division rival. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you next time.